Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 29th day of May 2024. It is Wednesday of the 8th week of the year, the 8th week in Ordinary Time. It's also the optional memorial of Pope Paul VI. So it's an option to celebrate him, not necessarily to push aside the day that is today and to honor him, but we should think of him and we should consider him today. Paul VI, who courageously tried to carry on John the 23rd's vision of the Second Vatican Council, and then also to implement it once the council was concluded. Something that is still ongoing, something that is still meeting a lot of resistance, something that is still, again, causing ripples in the life of the church, and many people either trying to forget that there was a council, trying to misinterpret it in so many ways, or trying to say that it was a council that never should have happened. And so Paul VI and his courageousness, basically, in saying that what John the 23rd understood the Holy Spirit leading the church toward had to be fulfilled, had to be carried out. And so that is why, again, he is numbered among the holy ones especially, and why, again, we can remember him in one way today on this day. But on this Wednesday of the 8th week of the year, again, that first letter of Peter, again, a letter of encouragement, not a letter of haranguing, not a letter that basically says you should be doing this, that, or the other thing and stop doing all these bad things, whatever it is. But it's a letter that's asking us to remember and to consider just what it is that we have become because of what Christ has done for us. That living a new way of life because of this Christ who has given us a new way of seeing ourselves, a new way of thinking about ourselves, a new way of understanding our future and our destiny is something that is earth-shattering, is something that changes the course of human history, is something that allows us to move forward in a way we might never have thought possible if Christ had not come, had not died, had not risen. So again, the echoes of Easter still being felt, again, in these weeks that follow the conclusion of the Easter season at Pentecost, to remember who we are and who we have become because of the life of Christ and because of what Christ has done, for us. It's Peter's letter to the church, or at least an apostle of Peter in a letter to the church at Rome, especially about who it is that we should be and how it is that we should live now as believers within this world. Something that all of us need to consider again and again in every day and age in which we live, because our identification as believers can become something that is routine, something that is common, something that is, basically just a matter of fact kind of a thing. And it should be always more than that. It is not just one among many things that we have that we identify ourselves by. It should be the most important thing that we identify ourselves by, so that it causes witness. It causes people to see differently this world in which we live and what this world stands and means for us as part of the creation of God. In Mark's Gospel today, we have the great encounter between James and John, the sons of Zebedee, who want special favors from Jesus, who want to sit at his right and at his left. And again, Jesus saying, you don't know what you're asking for. And again, to suffer, to die, to experience the rejection and everything else that Jesus will experience. Do you want to do that, James and John? And of course they say stupidly, of course we can. We can do all these kinds of things. We're just James and John. We're powerful and whatever. Again, it's almost as if, again, the arrogance of adolescence or whatever it is present in James and John, which again can also make it seem, again, how young these individuals were. They are not old men as they are pictured so many times in paintings and art and whatever it is. These were young men just like Jesus, who probably had visions of grandeur in their minds, and so they wanted to have that grandeur. Not necessarily holy people, again, but people who tried to get what they could from Jesus. Again, those ideas of the Withams, of what's in it for me, for James and John, it was what's in it for us. And Jesus says, yes, you will indeed suffer and die. You will indeed experience the rejections that I will experience. But again, it's the Father's decision who sits at rights and at lefts, and things like that. The other important thing, though, is when the apostles, you have the 10 apostles' reaction to this, which is basically one of righteous indignation, of thinking this is a terrible, awful, arrogant move on James and John's part. And again, they begin to bicker and argue amongst themselves. Again, there was relatively few times of actual peace, it seems, among the 12 and Jesus. A lot of times there was a lot of anger and a lot of backbiting and all kinds of things like that, because again, they just didn't understand what was happening, what was going on, and Jesus in his patience is trying to teach them again and again and again. But here's what Jesus basically says. All of you want grandeur in some ways. All of you want power. All of you want people to look upon you with all kinds of notoriety and all kinds of favor and whatever it is. And that's not whatever this is about. The rest of the world thinks that those things are important. important, that kind of power and that kind of grandeur is important. But it isn't this way among those who are my disciples, Jesus says. It's about service and giving and never stop giving. And when it seems as though you've given enough, rest and give again. The more that we enter into each other's lives, the more that we support and journey with one another, the more that we carry each other's loads from time to time, the more that we are able to be there to encourage, to support, to guide. Those are the great marks of greatness. Those are what it means to be great, to not think of ourselves always and all the time, but to think about how many other people we can enter into their lives and allow them to know how wonderful and gloriously created they are. Again, that comes from our own understandings of our own glorious creation, but it's not something that is meant to be manipulated for our own gain, but something that enables us then to be able to share that wonder and glory with others. A continued blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.